Buckle up for Skip versus Ernestine. This is round 9. We're about to go round and round about topics a lot of couples battle about, just not on camera like we're about to do. You know, my wife Ernestine, sitting beside me, just might be even more outspoken than I am. Is that possible?
It could be, at times.
Especially behind closed doors.
Well, yeah.
Now the doors are open. And as always, we are refereed by our diva daughter, Hazel, our 8-year-old Maltese, the biggest star in this household. She just peed, so she's a happy girl.
Oh, good.
She got a treat for
that everybody
peeing.
has to hear. She says, I have no dignity left, but that's okay.
It's true. She pees on camera. There is nothing out there quite like this show, and we do appreciate all your support. We'll get to all your questions in just a few minutes, but first up for us is football.
Oh, God. Oh, countdown.
Ernestine has come to love basketball, especially NBA basketball.
I do.
But my wife has absolutely no use for football, the game I'm most known for as a commentator, the game I feel like I've watched for 5 straight months, every day and every night.
Me too. Make it 19 years. That's been more like it.
And this just plagues me. It just baffles me. What don't you like about football, please?
Everything. I just do not like football. It's not a crime. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. I'm sure there are a lot of guys out there and women that do not like football. I don't understand it. I don't get the game. I understand the ball and I understand the guys. I don't understand when they bring out the yellow line that's invisible. I don't understand. I wrote the same thing in my book, Bowls. Not to pitch my book, but if you want to see a little bit
but she's on the record about this.
Saying this. I've been on this for 19 years. I just don't get it. And I think it's also really barbaric. I'm sorry. When they have to cart the guy off the field and everybody is holding their breath. Yeah. And I'm very upset about it because I think, my God, did the guy get killed? Is he dead? And then he lifts his finger up and then everybody, they cheer and then they forget about him and he's off the side of the field. I'm the only one that cares. The next day I say to you, what happened to that guy? And then you go, what guy? I go, the guy they carted off the field.
He's okay.
Is he okay? You're like, oh, yeah, whatever. So that's a problem. Brutality, it's to me the most, I guess it's the most violent besides boxing.
Or MMA,
MMA sport. And I just don't like it. And I don't get it. And I think that it's just, I can't see the guys' faces. I don't know who is anyone except by the number on their back.
Okay.
And I don't get it.
Okay. And you always say you can see the physiques in basketball because they're in tank tops and shorts.
I can see basketball. I can see their faces. I get to know the guys. They have a bit of a personality. These guys have no personality except they just want to kill each other on the field.
Okay.
It's like a gladiator. To me, it reminds me of we saw Gladiator.
We did too.
It's exactly, they put them in they used to have the lion that would come out and the guys would have to try to fight the lion. That's what this reminds me of. And so to me, I don't think that it's a fun sport. I think that I get it. I get the whole ball and you have to tackle and you have to hit the 40-yard line and then you have to the kicker tries to make it for one more.
Any of that.
I don't really care.
Okay, but
why do I have to care?
It's such a great game. It's replaced baseball as our national pastime.
Well, I don't know. Some people still love baseball.
They do, but people are addicted to football because the pace is so much faster and hotter than baseball's pace. Baseball is so slow that it lost a couple of generations, maybe 3 generations of kids because it's tediously slow. They're trying to do a pitch clock to make the pitcher pitch faster. But football is burst, play. And the whole, I keep, to my detriment, I try to explain to you this simple concept of you get 3 plays to move 10 yards. And if you move 10 yards, if you have 1 yard to go on 4th down, you can still go for it on 4th down. But if you miss, it's their ball wherever that is on the field. And I can't get that through
No.
your head because you rebelled against it.
And then when do they bring out that yellow invisible line?
But that's your first down line, so you're trying to reach that to keep the ball.
But then are they going to, what is it called when they know when they all go on the field? What is that called? Are they going to blast? No, what is it called when they're all, there's like
kickoff?
No, there's a term for when they all have to blitz the field. They have to go blitz or something.
Well,
I'm serious, isn't it called blitz?
Okay, so if it's an obvious passing down because it's like second and long, second and 12 maybe, and you need 12 yards to get a first down, you just know they're going to pass. So maybe you send extra defenders.
Right, and then there's too many guys on the field. Then they throw the flag down and they say there's how many guys are normally on the field?
11.
Okay, there's 12 guys there now. So then they have to take the guy out.
Sometimes, or you can snap it before they can get the guy off the field and trick them into a 5-yard penalty, right?
Yes.
Okay, but from day one of our relationship, I tried to explain to you this simple concept of 10 yards for a first down.
But it gets much deeper than that.
And then you keep moving down the field into their territory.
Yeah.
And at some point, if it's 4th and 2 at their 24-yard line, you might say, boy, we don't know if we can make 2 yards. Let's kick, and the thing I hate the most about football, let's kick a field goal because you can at least get 3 points out of it, because if you miss on 4th and 2, then it's their ball, right? Then they get to go the other way and you got no points. Yeah. If you make 4th and 2 at the 24, then you get a fresh set of downs. You get at least 3 more downs, maybe 4.
You're explaining this to me again.
To cover 10 yards.
This is like the 8,000th time.
I know, but you just reject it because
you don't
just
accept the fact that I don't care about football. Or I don't want to learn about football. I'm not going to be a football player.
I know, but it's my life.
I know, but you can enjoy it. I don't tell you can't go watch it and write about it and talk about it.
So it becomes very difficult to have any kind of husband-wife talk in the evening.
You could ask everybody, whoever is watching this, if they have to sit and talk to their boyfriend, husband, partner, girlfriend, whatever, about football. They just go and they watch it themselves.
Sunday night.
Or some women do go, I wrote this in my book. They watch it and they don't get it and they're doing their nails and they're texting their friends and they're not even looking at the game.
Okay, all right. But you won't even do that with me.
Oh, how many games have I watched?
Psycho.
Okay, let's back it up. 19 years ago, I have watched more football than most guys out there that have watched.
I don't know about that.
Oh,
I'll give you basketball.
No, I would put that. I would definitely go on the betting block for that one. I have watched more football. I have watched multiple games at once. I have watched Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday of games for at least 14 years.
I'm going to give you Saturday because
when we first met, Skip, you would come to my apartment and I bought the package so you could watch all of the games. Yeah. We watched every game from, it would start at 10 in the morning and we'd order lunch and then we'd order dinner because it was going till 11 o'clock at night. Okay. You would leave my apartment at like 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
It was games wall to wall. And I watched every single game because I thought, oh, this is what I should do. Maybe I'll find it interesting. So I have watched more games than any guy out there.
2005, you actually watched Vince Young in Texas.
I go back with these guys almost to prehistoric days.
Bobby Carpenter?
Yeah, I remember Bobby Carpenter with the long hair. Yeah. I know all of these guys. AJ Hawk and his sister married.
Yeah.
I know the whole thing. Laura married Brady Quinn. I know the ins and outs of every football player that has existed for the last 19 years.
You actually watched the Bush Push with me, Matt Leinart at Notre Dame when they sort of stole the game.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Against Charlie
Matt
Weiss.
Leinart. I remember Charlie Weiss,
Brady
Notre
Quinn
Dame.
was the quarterback.
I know. You could quiz me on these guys. I know everything about them because they have become part of my life. Okay. So I've watched a lot of football.
Wouldn't it help you? Wouldn't it actually be a mental advantage if you just sat down and said, okay, I'm going to get a hold of the concept of the game so you could appreciate it?
No, I tried many times. Simple. I would say to myself, okay, I'm going to watch this game today and I'm going to really get into it. And it lasted about 10 minutes and then I have no interest in it. It
Okay?
just is out
Yeah.
the door.
Basketball, you will sit
like
and watch with me
basketball.
because
Yeah.
you actually get into it.
I like
Sometimes
it.
I'm not that into some game that I
Yeah,
have
I
on
call
while
the
we're
I
eating
call the
dinner.
plays. That was a charge.
She knows
I
charge.
do.
She knows
I
block
do.
charge really well.
I
She's
know. I
very
could be a
good at
ref.
it. Right.
I like seeing who's at the games. I like to see the
She likes the
players. I like the
celebrities at the Laker
celebrities.
games. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like the
Okay.
New York celebrities.
She does. And the concept is pretty simple because the ball either goes through the
Yeah.
basket or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There's not these
There's not-
hidden rules that come
It's
out.
not hidden. It's just you
it's
get
like
4 downs to
And
make
most
10
of the
yards.
time, they don't get hurt. I mean, occasionally these guys are hurt, but not to the point where they have to cart them off the field and
Occasionally
he's on the
one
field and
gets
then all the
carted off.
doctors are
Yeah.
around and then the staff are there and
That's
everybody's
true.
they're praying and it's crazy.
I think the NBA is more of a contact sport than a lot of people give
Yeah,
it
but they
credit
bang
for.
into him so they get black and blues and then occasionally they get all red like Gasol used to get red on his body and what's his name?
Yeah,
Joker
yeah.
gets
You always
red all
say,
over his
he's
body.
red all over his arms.
Red. I don't know what it is. He must be like, I don't know. It must
He's got a
nerves.
skin condition
Yeah,
or
skin
something. No, but they're just
He's got
raking
eczema.
him. No, he's so big and so skilled. They're just raking his arms.
I know,
trying
it's
to
terrible.
stop
He's got
him.
all marks on his arms. But I like that.
But it's not barbaric.
To me, it's not barbaric.
Okay.
Football.
All right. This
issues.
discussion leads into Sunday, start to finish. This one down here is now asleep on my
she
leg.
was being held prisoner.
She
for
wasn't held prisoner. She loves to
8
watch
hours.
football with me.
She doesn't have a choice.
She has a choice. She chooses me over you. I can't help it.
She only chooses
Yeah,
me
we got
when
a
it's dinner
triangle,
time.
the classic triangle
Dinner.
here.
Triangle.
Okay. So
Dinner time.
she stays in, and I've got back-to-back games that start at, we're out here in Los Angeles, so it
1
started
o'clock.
at noon. No,
Oh,
noon.
12.
Noon
Yeah, that's
here,
right.
and then 3:30
Yeah.
for the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And you asked me about 6 times on Saturday. Now, what's the deal? And I try to explain
No,
that
I
it wouldn't
understood
go
the
in your
deal.
head.
I understand 4 teams. You're going to play. Whoever wins, two teams are going to end up going to the
Super Bowl.
Bowl. I understood the concept. It wasn't like that. I asked you what time do they start? Who's playing against Kansas City again? I know you wanted the Eagles. You picked the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I get it all.
Thank you.
I know it all.
Okay.
You were happy when the Eagles won. I get it.
But when I told you, well, the Eagles won, and I picked them to
Right.
now they're
I
in
said,
the
wow,
Super
that's
Bowl.
great.
You were like,
Well, what do you
okay.
want me to do? Like send out rockets? I mean, that was great.
Well,
You picked them. That was
I know, but it's
congratulations.
just so ironic. I hate them because I'm
I know,
a Cowboy
you-
fan.
I know,
but I knew
But the
they
Cowboys
were going to be
aren't
great.
in the game. Or in the.
No, they're not.
They're
'Cause
not.
They're
They
never
got
going to be
bounced
in
out.
the game.
No.
For the rest of my life, they're never going to make it to this
Right.
moment, the
So,
Super Bowl moment.
I get it.
Okay, so the Eagles have Jalen Hurts and they have Saquon. I
Right.
don't know if either
I
one
know
of them do
Saquon.
anything for you. Saquon was a
Saquon
giant.
was New York. Yes,
Yeah.
I get
Okay.
him. I
All
like
right.
him.
She's got an itch. Okay.
I like Saquon Barkley.
So do I. I think he's a really good guy who sort of died and went to football heaven in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They have the best offensive line. They have the best defense. They have a quarterback who can get him free because the quarterback can also run with it.
Yeah.
So I love everything about what they're doing. And I
Wow.
do like Jalen Hurts because I think he's a really good guy. And I think Saquon, I had him on shows before, is a really good guy.
He seems
so
to be.
they're easy to root for to
Okay.
me, even though they wear that vomity green jersey of the Eagles.
Oh.
I don't like it. I
Everybody
don't
has
like
to
the
wear
colors.
something.
I just don't. It's just like off. They're
I
green.
didn't
They're
mind
shade
the
of green.
colors. I thought they were okay.
I don't know. I'm not a green guy.
Oh,
As you
don't-
know,
you
have
don't
you ever
like green.
bought
No,
me anything
you,
green?
yeah,
Maybe
you don't
once
like,
or twice.
You don't like green.
Okay.
Okay.
On the other side, you did confide in me late Sunday night that you had the game on, the AFC Championship game, but when you got to the last 3 minutes, you just said, I
do that.
turned the
No,
game off.
sometimes I do that because it's almost like a Christmas thing. I was making food in the kitchen and I had the game on,
Yeah.
and then I saw that it was, I think it was, they were down 1 point. I think it was 1 point. They were tied, and then he kicked the field goal or whatever he did, and he
Okay.
whatever to make the extra. Was it 2 points? Whatever.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh no, don't tell me.
They're gonna
Kansas
do it
City
again.
is going to win.
They're going to win again.
And I said
I was
to
with
myself,
you. I just knew it was going to happen.
I said, I have to shut this TV off because I'm going. If I leave it on and I see that that they won, then I'd really be upset because I just didn't want to go through all of this craziness again. So I turned the TV off thinking, not as a jinx like your jinxes, but I do this sometimes. If I turn it off, I want to be pleasantly surprised like Christmas. Like if I don't look, maybe Santa's going to bring me something good. And then it is. So I shut the TV
Kind
off
of like
thinking.
a watched pot never boils.
Right.
So you didn't watch
So
the pot.
to me, maybe I was going to then hear, oh, they lost. This is great. I turned it off. But I knew. So I turned it off. And then I checked my phone and I saw they won.
There they are.
Womp, womp.
Womp, womp, womp. Charlie Brown.
Right, Charlie Brown. Womp, womp.
And they're back again.
Right.
And
the craziness.
The craziness has
I just
ensued.
thought maybe it would all end, the craziness.
And you're talking about the
the craziness
Swifties
of the...
You've got Patrick Mahomes, his wife. You don't really love all that.
I don't love any of it. No, I don't.
Travis Kelce.
Right, and his girlfriend.
Jason Kelce's going to be right in the middle of all of it.
Right, he has to decide, I saw it this morning, how is he going to go to both games or something.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
he's been through this before.
Yeah,
but whatever. The mom's been through it before.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
So they're going to dominate.
It'll be okay.
But you understand the ratings
Well,
will
the ratings would be, I said to you, if they don't win, the ratings will be a nightmare. Because everybody will tune off.
Buffalo, Philadelphia.
The real fans will watch. The fake fans that are only watching for certain specific reasons will not watch anymore.
Okay.
So they had to have them win to make the ratings go through the roof.
So you've made it clear you don't hate Taylor Swift.
I don't
but
care
you just
about
get tired of it.
I have nothing against any of them. I just am tired of it. It's exhausting to see this again. It's just, I don't know. Maybe nobody else feels that way. Maybe people do feel that way. But I'm to the point where I just can't take seeing the girlfriend, the wife, the other wife. It's just him. It's just to nausea.
Yeah. Okay. And you had a good line to me the other night, if you don't mind me bringing it up. But somehow Taylor Swift strikes you as the uncool girl.
Well, this has become, the whole thing is very high school. It's like the girl that finally gets the boyfriend and he's the quarterback.
But she couldn't get a boyfriend. She wasn't a cool girl.
Right, but then she becomes the cool girl because she got the boyfriend and now everybody likes her and so they want her in their groups. And it's just very high school to me. I've never seen this before.
Okay. And
as long as I've been around your sport world.
The uncool girl in high school can sing. Right. So even though we don't love how she sings.
I don't care about this, but I just care about the whole that it's forced in your face everywhere I go. I'm a big magazine person. I've always been a magazine person. I read every magazine that's under the sun.
She drives to the magazine stand.
I do on Wednesdays.
The internet age, but she drives to the magazine stand on Pico Boulevard here on the west side of LA.
Every Wednesday, the newsstand gets Nick is the owner of the newsstand, and
she buys a bunch of magazines.
I buy every magazine that exists
that she can read on the treadmill or on the bike.
I've always been a magazine person. I read when I was in fashion. I did fashion. I still do fashion. I do entertainment. I do lifestyle. I do pop culture. Whatever I do, and I read 6 newspapers every morning. So every magazine has the same person on the cover. So it's to the point of, is there anyone else left in this world?
Your line was brilliant because I had not thought of Taylor Swift that way, but she was kind of she comes across like she was the nerdy girl in high school.
She's just the next door neighbor girl that then gets the quarterback.
But the quarterback's actually the tight end,
well,
but he's a really good tight end.
So he could
it's the same idea.
It's the same idea. Just slot him in as that.
The quarterback was already taken, so she had to go with the tight
when
end.
Tom Brady and Giselle, that was a whole different feeling.
Yeah.
Because Giselle was Giselle.
Yeah.
She was the biggest supermodel in the world.
Yeah.
And there was a part of me that felt he was lucky to get her because she was just, she was it, man. She's just one of a kind.
And I personally thought she was lucky to get him because I wasn't that big a fan of hers. But that's just me.
There wasn't this craziness that there is now. I mean, Ciara and Russell Wilson, she's a big star.
She is.
And he's a big star.
Was.
But at the time, he was big.
Yeah.
There wasn't this, I don't know what it is. I just don't understand it. This magnified obsession.
Well, it's her fandom that is following Travis into football fandom.
Giselle
and the ratings
had fans.
will be through the Superdome roof.
I think it's just.
But Giselle's fans didn't follow her to football.
No, but I think I think some people probably watched to see if she was going to be in the stands. But she never cared about the spotlight as much. She kind of stayed back, Giselle. It wasn't as, what is she wearing?
Need the spotlight.
No,
yeah.
But she would show up in a pair of jeans and a sweatshirt, and that was her. That's what I liked about her. She had this unassuming personality that didn't really shove it in your face.
Me, I've said this before, I'll say it one more time. When I watch the shots of Taylor Swift at a football game up in the luxury box, she's acting to me. She's pouring it on, putting it on thick, where she's playing a role, and she's mugging for the cameras because she knows the cameras are on her. And she's overdoing it, the hugs and the yays and the craziness. She knows she's on camera, so she has to act.
Well, yeah,
but she's not acting naturally.
But those other women didn't do that.
They didn't.
Even when Eva Longoria was with Tony Parker, Eva Longoria, she never.
No,
there was nothing.
I never saw her during
That was
the game.
The thing. I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. That's where I'm lost on this.
Okay,
how did it become so crazy?
For once, I'm with you.
I just don't understand.
All right, let's change the subject by taking a question from Mark from Youngstown, Ohio. Ernestine, how do you handle when Skip is having a meltdown, such as when the Cowboys hired Brian Schottenheimer? Do you give him his space, or do you try to calm him down?
Back in the day.
This was last Friday night. The Cowboys did hire Brian Schottenheimer.
I remember. I heard it from you, and I didn't know.
I disrupted what was going to be our date night. Right. Because I was lifting weights.
I remember.
And we were about to eat dinner.
Right.
Our slice of pizza.
Right. Well, more than a slice of pizza, but whatever. But the point was, I said, I've got to make a video because this is just too big and it's too awful for me. I remember.
And it tore me apart. I'm sweaty from lifting weights, and I just sat down with my cowboy cap on and my weight gloves on, and I just unleashed.
Make the video. Quick.
On it. I did.
Know. I remember.
And we got it out.
Okay, here's the story. When I first met you, I would care about that stuff. I would say, oh my God, I feel so bad for him. He's so upset. Oh, gee, we'll watch it together. And then I realized as years went on that you didn't really care that I was sitting there, like it didn't really matter. So then why do I have to subject myself to this now? Because in the end, I don't really care. I mean, yes, I care. I feel bad for you. Oh, you don't like him and that's bad. But I'm not going to sit and wallow in it with you. So I give you space. And then the same token, I don't have to deal with more junk on my head.
Okay.
I got enough junk on my head.
So I used to get really angry with you.
Oh, and then, I remember. How come you don't say you're sorry that they hired this coach?
Just a little consolation, just a little consoling, just a little sympathy, just a little bit of I'm with you, I'm behind you, whatever.
It's not my doing they did that. This isn't like a family member.
You can't control what they do.
You can't. But why should I apologize? Why should I say, oh, I'm really sorry that you're going through that? I didn't cause it, and it's not, I can't take 1% of that reason that I caused it. So why should I say that?
I don't hold you accountable at
but
all.
Why should I say I'm sorry? This isn't like somebody got diagnosed with something bad. I have to come and say, I'm sorry, I heard that.
But like a year ago when they played a home playoff game and they were down 27-0 before halftime to the Green Bay Packers, Wayne's team.
Yeah.
And I was going to have to face Wayne.
Yeah.
And I was going to have to go in the next day.
Yeah.
And face the onslaught on Undisputed.
I know the whole thing.
And I was going to get shamed nationally, publicly.
Right.
It's okay. She's the only one who cares about me.
Yeah.
You're the only one. Good girl.
Well,
you're a very good girl.
The fact
that she watches with me, she cares.
You had to go in and do this on national TV. I felt bad for you. I'm like, oh God, that's crummy to do that. You have to go. But
it's humiliating.
That's your team.
Yeah.
So you got to eat the crow. It's my fault.
You got to eat the crow, and I've eaten nothing but salty crow.
Right, but whose fault is that?
For 30 years, I've eaten salty crow.
But whose fault is
spoiled crow?
But whose fault? Change the team.
Crow.
After a while, change the team.
I've threatened to do it. I kind of changed this year. I kind of became an Eagles fan because I like Jalen.
I know, but don't threaten.
Now I like Howie Roseman instead of Jerry Jones.
Don't threaten. Do it.
Okay, well,
and
I
then
did.
you don't
I
have
picked
to
them
put
to win
up
the
with it
Super Bowl.
anymore.
Okay, and I'm happy right
Good.
now. But
because the
but I've said this
Cowboys
before.
they're not an option.
I have attached since I was 10 years old my very self-image to this team. Where when I look in the mirror after they win, I kind of like.
I thought you see yourself as a Cowboy, as a player.
Not as a player,
okay.
but I mean my self-image. Just if they win, I feel better about myself.
Well, I know that because if they win, I can go back in the living room if you're there
like,
and actually see
happy.
you.
Relief.
If they lose, then I have to hide because I don't want to see the rest of the nightmare.
There was a
coming.
turning point, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago in our relationship when I finally had to accept the fact you're out. You're not going to be there for me when they upchuck on the football field.
No, let's back that up. It was when you were in Connecticut,
Yeah.
and you would come down to New York for a weekend, and then I would go up to Connecticut, and on the Sunday, you would have to go back at either 6:00 at night, or I would leave at 6:00 from Connecticut back to New York.
Okay.
And I used to watch the games with you, remember?
Some.
No. I used to watch the games.
You watched Tebow games with me.
No, I watched all the games
crazy.
with you on Sunday. I watched all the games with you on Sunday. And then what would happen is, then you started blaming me for, you jinxed me. Oh, you said this, you said that. And that's when it turned. And then I said, from now on, I leave before the games come on. Remember, I used to leave at 12 o'clock because the game came on at 1 or something. Or it was 10, 1, 4, 8, whatever. How many it was.
No, there was 1 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would leave at 12. And then in New York, you would leave at 11 to go back to Connecticut.
Yeah.
That was how it changed because then I became the reason why the games were. And I said to myself, I don't have to put up with this.
And you don't.
No, and I don't. So then that was the
truth
turning
is,
point.
the answer to this question is,
No.
she just tunes me out. She blocks me. I'm blocked. I'm emotionally blocked by her on nights that the Cowboys hire Brian Schottenheimer, Mike McCarthy's best buddy. They elevate a guy who's 51, who's never even been offered a head coaching job to be the head coach of the Cowboys, and I can't talk to her about it at all.
But what I say is, you don't know. Maybe he'll turn out to be good. You never know. People, you can't read the fortune. You don't know what happens.
Okay.
Like when your team loses, I say to you every time, I don't say it anymore because it's old by now. I say to you, these guys get up in the morning, every single player on both teams, they get up thinking, today I'm going to win this game.
They do.
They don't get up saying,
I don't know, some might have some doubt.
Well,
but
the negative people that probably you like, they would be negative like you. They would probably say, I'm going to lose this game today. But
I'm not negative. I just don't want to jinx it.
But most of the players, if you ask them, they all think they're going to win. They get up and they feel like they're gladiators. They're going to go win.
Okay.
Womp, womp.
Womp,
Then they
womp.
lose.
Okay.
So whose fault is it? Their fault. It's their fault. They don't play well.
I think in the end, you think it's my fault for liking football and liking the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't care. You could like them forever.
Yeah. Okay. Changing the subject. So all last week, we watched Jeopardy's what's called Second Chance tournament. And there was this guy from Hawaii that you just drooled over night after night.
Yeah, but you have to give the backdrop that we watch Jeopardy. It's become,
Okay, but we watched
We've been watching it for 19 years.
It's been the staple of our relationship,
Yeah.
but we're watching the Second Chance.
Yeah.
And you're like, this guy's a young Robert Redford.
He
I don't
looked
know
like
if
Robert
people remember
Redford.
Robert Redford, but he was.
Who does not know Robert Redford?
Okay, well, a lot of people watching the show might not
please.
know Robert Redford. But
They
the
would know
point is,
Robert Redford.
I give you this. He was a good-looking guy.
He's a nice-looking guy.
Yeah, he was like a surfer dude type.
He was like a surfer dude. He came from Hawaii. And yeah.
Okay. So he's all this and he's all that, and it just goes on and on. If I went on and on about a female contestant on Jeopardy,
you have done that.
I have not. Well,
the
then
one
would
that
be
used to go in.
fighting words.
Remember the girl that used to go in the dryer? We used to laugh about her. What was that?
That was like 18 years ago.
You say, I really like her. She's attractive if she didn't have her glasses on or something like that.
All right, I might have said that once.
She goes in a dryer. She
Okay.
said her pastime was she likes to tumble in a dryer.
She did say that.
Maybe you,
They like to go for a tumble in the dryer?
Right. She's some
that dangerous?
wacko.
Okay.
This guy, he's in Hawaii. He probably surfs.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right. But I just give you that. I just give into it because I don't want to fight. Because if I cross you about it, you're going to come back at me and we're going to go New York versus Oklahoma City.
Please.
Well, seriously. So I just give in to you because I'm not jealous. I just let it go.
I could care less. I was just making a statement. I said, he's adorable.
He's adorable,
Looks like
and he
a
was
young Robert
adorable, and then he
Redford.
was adorable again, and he was adorable, and we
Well,
watched
every
him all
time I
week.
watched him, I kept
'Cause
saying he was adorable.
he
And then
got to
then he bombed
the
it,
finals. He
out.
bombed in
Yeah.
it's a back-to-back.
But then I
it's
didn't
a
like him the
two-night
last
final.
time. Then I said I like the other guy better.
You did.
Yeah, I
You
said
like the guy on the right.
The guy on the right.
From Seattle.
From
I believe
Seattle,
he was,
yeah.
who won
Yeah.
the
So
second chance tournament. Now he's in the
I'm gonna go
tournament of
with
champions
winners.
that start this week. Okay. All right. Vinny from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, home of the Little League World Series, asks, Skip, I know you've been pretty outspoken about being a Christian, and on one of your videos, it was mentioned Ernestine was Jewish. How do you both handle this? Okay, let me just point out quickly.
Okay.
I don't like the term Christian. I just don't like it because people
Okay.
wince and they, all of a sudden it's Jesus
Born
freak
again.
and, all this. I believe in God. I believe in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I do go to church, as you know.
I do know.
And you did grow up as the youngest daughter of
Yeah.
a Jewish woman from
But
the
a
Lower East Side of
Catholic father,
Manhattan, but a
yeah.
Catholic father. And you weren't really raised either one.
No, I was
to speak
raised
of.
with
You went a
both.
little here and a little there.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you were kind of an open book when we first met,
Mm-hmm.
it was a concern to me because I wanted you to believe in the biggest picture of what I believe in.
It was never a concern to me
No, it wasn't.
because I didn't really care. I don't really care what people are
Okay.
because I wasn't raised that way.
Okay. But she did choose from day one, Christmas one, I should say, to go to a Methodist church with me.
Yeah.
To go to a quote unquote Christian church.
But it did not matter what church it was. I was just going with you because I liked you and I thought, okay, I'll go to church with you.
Okay.
But I don't see it as that. I just go, the way I was raised, my mother and father said, you can decide for yourself what you want to do. I would go to temple with my mother. I would go to church with my father. I would go to church with my friends, more than I did with my father. I was in we would go to the rock mass at 10 o'clock on a Sunday and we would sing. And then I would go to the temple with my mother. So to me, what somebody is doesn't matter. And the way that I think, I believe in a God, but I don't have to go to a church or a temple to feel that I'm close to God. It's wherever I am, I can feel close. So that's my thing. You feel better if you go to an actual church. And so I don't fault you for that, so I'll go with you.
Okay. But during football season, as you know,
Well,
I
you
just
don't go
get up,
because on Sundays
I
it's
can't.
hard.
Well, it's up against the
Right.
opening because the
Unless
game
they would
start
have
at 10.
game on at church.
They
then
would have to have the game
yeah,
on, and I
right.
don't want to sit in
No.
the sanctuary
You've done
looking
that
at my
before,
phone.
but no.
And plus, I can't watch multiple games
No.
on my phone the way I could with my
No.
mini TVs.
What's the point?
So I can't go for the 6-ish months of football
Yeah.
season. But then I go. Sometimes I go by myself. Sometimes
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
You went on Christmas.
Yeah.
And yet, not to get too deep,
Yeah.
but the only departure for us is I do believe in the afterlife and everlasting life.
I don't know what I believe.
And you're not sure.
I'm not
And
sure.
so
I'm
you're-
more like Woody Allen. I don't really know. I would like to believe that there is something after this. I would like to believe that my mother, who I love more than life itself, and my father, that I would see my mother and father. Do I know that? I don't know that for a fact because I don't know anybody who has experienced this and came back. People have experienced where they say they have died and they see a light and then they go through a tunnel and they see their whole life passes before them and then they come back because the doctor saved them. But nobody has ever said, I've died for a year and now I came back. I wish people, that's why I love Joseph, our shaman, because the shaman, my shaman, he really did. He told me things that no one in this world would know. And
he believed in God in the afterlife.
And he passed away last year. But he told me things that no one in my life knew except me and my mother. And he told me deep secrets that only my mother knew. So he had a connection. He could connect with spirits. And that was what he said. And he told me that I have a very special sixth sense, which I do. And my mother had it. And he told me that you should actually cultivate that. And he told me what books to buy. And he said you could hone that better because
Yeah.
I have something. If I think of somebody that I
Yeah.
haven't thought of for 2 years, they'll call me out of the blue.
Okay.
Or, you know,
So the
not
reason I
with.
liked you was you have God in your heart. And I think
Yeah.
you have it more in your heart than you believe.
Well, I
But I
have it.
just simply believe that if you give yourself to God, that you will go to heaven, if you will, and you will live forever in heaven. And this life that we're in is very fleeting. You snap your fingers and it's
Yeah.
over, and it
Years
can be
fly
over
by,
in a moment.
and nobody is promised
Nobody's
tomorrow
promised tomorrow.
or
Okay.
today.
And yet you fear dying way more than I do because
Yeah.
I just believe if it's my time to go, I'm going to go.
Well, I
And
don't feel that way. I just
okay.
don't. I like living, and I don't. To me, to die, I don't know. I don't know what the. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what really happens. But I don't. I don't. It's not something I look forward to.
Yeah. Well, I
I
understand.
mean,
You sound like Woody Allen.
no. Well, I feel like Woody Allen because I relate to Woody Allen totally because that's what a lot of his movies are about. And he always, he doesn't
Okay.
know.
So the answer to this question is I'm with her. I didn't choose her. I'm with her because I just believe in her heart and soul. I just do.
Well, I'm
And
with you because I don't care whether or not you believe in an afterlife or you believe in. It's all about the person, and as my mother would say, if they treat you well, that's more than important than anything. So,
okay. All right. Next up, it's Eric from Boston. We know Skip loves golf.
no understatement.
Ernestine,
Understatement.
do you ever go play golf with him?
I have driven the golf cart. I
Many
have
times. Many
putted.
times. She putts and she's a good
I'm a
putter.
good putter.
She's left-handed, but she putts right-handed.
Yeah.
She's also a great thrower of like a Nerf ball. She's a great
I mean,
not a
excellent.
good one, trust me. We'll make another video. We
Yeah.
made one once.
Yeah.
If you could see her throw, she's a deadly accurate thrower with velocity,
I am.
left-handed.
I don't know why,
But
but I
I
am.
could not get her to actually play golf because
No.
it's very difficult, as you know, and she
I
just
don't
didn't
have
want
any
to.
interest.
She didn't want to go to the driving range and get humiliated in front of people who are smashing it 300 yards.
No, but I don't even think that was what. It's one of those things. My mother would always say to me, "Why don't you let him teach you how to play golf? Why don't you go play golf?" I don't really have any desire.
Okay.
It's kind of like the
and
football
I never
thing.
pushed.
No.
I pushed a little on the football, but I never pushed on
No,
the
well,
golf.
I'm not going to become a football player, but
No.
the golf thing, I didn't mind driving the cart. And then to me, I like being on the golf course because it's very zen, very quiet, very peaceful.
She would just either talk on the phone quietly
Well, if
or
I could
read her phone.
between holes because
Yeah.
you can't really use it on the golf course. But I just like listening to the birds, and
Okay, well, that's
it's really
beautiful.
beautiful.
It is beautiful, and it can be very
Except
serene.
when you then miss,
Okay,
then
I go, okay, well, here's
when
the
he,
point.
that's the problem
This went on where she would go with me
all the time.
all the time. Like if we're on vacation in
would
Oklahoma
go
City,
every day.
she would go every day for the whole day.
Right,
And
for
if
a
we
week.
played 27 or 36 holes, she would just
I
stay
would
out
go.
there the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
Driving the cart, get an occasional
Yeah.
snack of some kind.
Right.
And you would just
was
hang
nice.
out there. And my friends that I grew up with loved her being out there because she's quote unquote one of the guys.
Yeah, I
She's
liked
just-
it. It was
yeah,
fun.
Okay. And
Until you go batty.
I go batty. I go crazy. I go kooky.
Right.
I go
It was
nutty.
similar to the football thing, but only
Yeah.
on the field.
Okay. On the golf
course.
Yes. Okay. I will admit I've had anger management issues on the golf course. It's not that I throw clubs, although
Although
I
you
did
did,
once throw
this
one.
is in my book. If
Yeah.
anybody wants to read my book, all of these fun things are in my book.
Okay.
But
one time we were at my favorite golf course that I grew up on called Lincoln Park. We were on it's the east and the west. It's 36 holes, but we were on the east on number 13. I think it's
13 or 14.
14 is
14.
Yeah, it's 14. It's a little
Your
uphill
favorite
par
hole.
4.
Yeah.
It's the next.
Oh,
holes.
15 was
the
your
next is
favorite
my
hole.
favorite
Yeah.
hole. It's par 5. But the uphill par 4 is a pretty easy little hole, except the green is built up into the slope, and it's a little hard to judge.
Yeah.
And I hit just some like sand wedge in there
I
because it was
remember.
from like 100 yards.
Yeah.
And I hit it right at the flag, and I said, that is tight. And we get up there, and it's in the back bunker in
remember.
the sand. And I'm like, you're kidding.
Yeah.
I deserve so much
Right.
better
There we
than
go.
that.
Yeah.
And so now I'm having to blast it out of the sand. Downhill
Yes.
with more sand down below. And you know what I did?
Yeah, so I
blasted it. Wait a second. And it goes all the way through the green and down the hill into the sand. And I go down and I leave it in the sand on my first shot and barely get it out on my second. So now I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm laying 5.
Right.
And I should have had a birdie putt. And I'm out of my mind.
Right, but then I was in the golf cart. I was in the golf cart and I watched it.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, I had shorts on. I'll never forget. I had shorts on with a T-shirt because it was summer and it was hot.
It was 100
And I thought
degrees.
to myself, oh, I feel so bad. Look at, he's like screwing up and I feel bad. And then I thought, I'll go out there and I'll root him on. I'll cheer him on. And then I walk over to where you were going to try to get the ball out of the sand.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just standing there and I said, sorry about
and
this.
And I said, hey, put this back in the cart.
And you flung the golf.
I just flipped it up the hill to her, my sand wedge. Yeah. And it's got this big
it's like a
blade
big
on it.
Steel blade.
Yeah, and it's deep. It's a sure shot old Ben Hogan.
It lands on the grass and boomerangs onto my knee, below my knee to my shin.
It bounced on the tip of the handle sideways and hit her in the shin.
It cuts my shin.
Just cut it open.
And I'm just bleeding profusely on the golf course.
Right.
And I said, look at my knee. Look at my leg. And then he's more upset that he's going to have to do something and
so we all putt out, me and my buddies, we putt out.
No, then Craig, your best friend, he says to me, well, we have to put something on it because the blood is pouring down my leg. And he gives me his old golf towel that has stains and dirt and mud. How I didn't get some kind of disease or some kind of like infection from that, wraps it around my shin. And then I go to the ladies' room and I have, they didn't have they had like paper towels.
It's a public course.
I'm wrapping my leg with it.
Yeah.
And he says to me, do you think you need to go to a doctor? I go, I think I need stitches. And then you say, do you think I could just finish up till 18?
Well, the next hole I definitely want to play because it's a downhill par 5 that I can just
So of course
massacre.
I said, okay, so they gave me the ice that was in the bucket with the drinks. Yeah. So I had double whammy. I got a dirty towel and I got dirty ice putting on my leg. And I called Laura, my doctor in New York, and I said to her, I just got hit. What do you think? I need stitches? She's like, just hold it really tight. And I sat for 3 holes with my leg like that. Remember that?
And this, I told my friend Craig, I'm going to marry that woman.
Because I was a trooper.
She was a trooper.
Yeah. So then after the 18th hole, then he goes to me, well, you seem to be okay now. Can I putt for a little bit more?
I was putting so poorly. And she let me putt for like 30 minutes before we went.
And then we went to Rite Aid
and
I bought all the Band-Aids and I should have gotten stitches, but I didn't want to go to Oklahoma City Clinic to get stitches. I figured they would just sew my leg up.
Right.
I did model hosiery for a while, so I had pretty good legs.
You do.
And then
you have great legs.
Yeah, thank you. And then I thought I'm going to have like zigzags like Frankenstein on my leg that they sewed me up with. So I just kept the Band-Aids and the whatever it was, alcohol.
And guess what? You lived.
Yeah, I lived. I have a scar on my...
You are tough. And you have a little scar on your...
A little scar.
Okay, it's
so that's my golf story.
And that was kind of the end of our golf in a lot of ways.
Well, I did go to golf out here, but once you start going wacky, I'm not going to stay around anymore.
And I don't blame you for that.
Yeah, you need to be by yourself.
Okay, this is Josh from Denver with the Grammys around the corner. What is your all-time favorite album, Ernestine?
I cannot do that. Yes, I have just too many. I have too many.
No, that's the point of the show.
Too much. I like too many different types of music, and I love. If I said this to you the other night, I'd have to narrow it down to like 4 or 5. I just couldn't pick one. I mean, I'm an old soul. I love Frank Sinatra.
She does.
So I love the swinging Frank Sinatra, the Capitol record days when he did all of the best in the 50s and the 60s.
Not swinging off the field, like swing
band.
No,
swinging in the term swinging as in jazz. Swinging. Okay. If nobody knows Frank Sinatra swinging, then you could see him. He's got the fedora on the cover of his album. Anyway, I like Sinatra. I do love Luther Vandross.
She does.
Live at Radio City. And I just went to see the Luther Vandross documentary. If anybody's a Luther Vandross fan, they should definitely check out the documentary on his life. I love the band, which is part of
Robbie Robertson.
Bob Dylan's world back in the 60s, and Robbie Robertson. And I love the band that Martin Scorsese did, The Last Waltz, which was a famous concert that they taped in San Francisco. That's one of my favorite albums. I love the Beatles.
Which
Rubber
one?
Soul.
Okay, Rubber
I love
Soul.
old Rubber Soul.
Okay, you can't have 20. You just have to pick
Okay,
one.
then
If I
that's
made you pick one right here, right now, you would. If this is Desert Island, Last Ditch, nuclear wars coming,
I'd
or
have
whatever.
to pick. It's a choice between Sinatra and Robbie and the band.
Wow.
I'd have to pick Sinatra.
Okay, you pick Sinatra. Any album? Is there any one?
The Swinging album.
Oh, just called Swing.
For Swingers.
Oh, I didn't even know
It's
that.
called For Swingers.
Before my time. So,
yeah, I'm an old soul. For Swingers.
Okay, my turn.
Okay.
All right. This for me comes down to, I'm going to date myself, but I am a diehard, hardcore Beatles fan and a Rolling Stones fan. But to me, the Beatles belong in this discussion. And yet, the album that stuck with me more than any album, because it was so raw, real, unique, that it just blindsided me because I'd never heard anything like it. And I could just listen to it to pieces until I just wore it out, was Purple Rain. Because it just came like bolt out of the blue.
Prince.
Okay. Yeah, Purple Rain.
Okay, because you said the Beatles.
No, I mean, but those it came down to those two. So I looked this up before we taped here, and Rolling Stones all-time top 25 soundtracks come down to number 2 is Purple Rain. Number 1 is the Beatles' Help album. Oh. And the more I thought about Help
is good.
It's not good. It is sensationally classic.
Yeah, I love Help.
It's got all those Another Girl songs, The Night Before, I Need You, You're Gonna Lose That Girl. These are all just hit.
Great.
They're really great.
I could go into the Help.
But then it's got You Need to Hide Your Love Away and Ticket to Ride, which are classics.
No, those are great.
And then this is my all-time favorite off-radar Beatles song, but it's my all-time favorite. As I've told you, It's Only Love is on Help.
That's one of my favorites.
I know, and it's by John Lennon.
That's why
it's
we
just
like
him.
each other.
And maybe it is, but that's the song.
No,
I told you.
That's one of my favorite. I would do that album instead of Rubber Soul.
Okay, thank you. Help, and the song "Help" is really great too.
The Help is great too, and the movie is good.
The movie is kooky, crazy, but it's fun. It is worth watching.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the forerunner of all the music videos that you saw. They created it.
Yeah.
They were breakthrough.
Yeah.
But again, It's Only Love was my all-time favorite song. And I told you, when I'm in college at Vanderbilt, before every intramural basketball game, which was life and death for us and our fraternity, I listened to that song before I left my dorm room to go play because it was my launch song.
Yeah, no,
and it was just so poignant.
I would do that album.
Yeah, okay. And at the end of the album, it's got Yesterday, and you don't like Yesterday, but you want to talk about a classic.
No, I mean, people love that song.
Okay, those are all on that one album.
Every song is good on that album. I give you that.
And still, if I have to pick one for my desert island, I'm going Purple Rain.
Really?
I just am, because...
I mean, that's a great album, too. I love Prince. I love Purple Rain.
When Doves Cry?
No, it's great.
Well, the song, the title track, Purple Rain.
Yeah. Well, that's great, too.
I Would Die for You.
That's a great
Baby,
song.
I'm a Star. Do you remember these? Darling
I love
Nikki.
that album.
I mean,
I love the movie, too.
Hey, I didn't love the music.
I did. I've seen the movie at least 4 or 5 times. But that album is great.
Yeah.
I would give you that.
Hey, it's just so...
No,
it's so
every song is
extraordinary.
good on that album.
It's a unicorn album that just blindsided me, and I couldn't stop listening.
It's great.
Let's Go Crazy is one of my all-time favorites.
Every song is good on that. There's not a bad song on that album, honestly.
And I did see him in concert, and whew,
I love.
Wow, this is just me. I'm slightly Prince over Michael Jackson. Not that Prince.
I would
dance.
I would
like
do
Michael,
Prince over Michael Jackson.
Would you? But
definitely.
I don't know. Just as a creator.
I mean, I do love Michael Jackson.
So
and if you didn't see the documentary, the one that they did, and now I can't think of the name of it, the making of the We Are the World.
Yeah,
with Michael Jackson in it.
Yeah, okay.
He's incredible.
Okay. All right. We did say last week we'd get to a question from Tariq from Cairo because we were very impressed. We had one fan
Never
in
been
Cairo.
to Egypt.
And that question was, what do you guys miss most about the 1980s? Wow. The 80s. Well, it's easy for me. It's a good segue. I miss Prince. God rest his soul.
That's a good
he
one.
dominated my music
Yeah.
through the 80s because
was-
the Beatles were pretty much gone by then.
Yeah.
So
he was
what do you
amazing.
miss the most?
The 80s? I guess I miss albums because people loved albums.
That's true.
Albums were still big, and I love albums. And
You
albums
mean
are back.
vinyl albums?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
albums. People
right.
bought albums. I mean, they were cassettes, but there were still albums in the 80s. And then I like some of the big hair bands, Poison, Bon Jovi started back then. Music videos, MTV. It was a different feeling of music. The music was incredible back then in the 80s.
I mean, it's still not the 60s, but it was different.
No, but it was the whole MTV, VH1, watching videos, seeing these groups that you hadn't seen, and then buying their album, or going to places like Tower Records, and you could listen to the whole album. They'd give you the earphones, and you can go in and listen to the album, the tracks, and then buy the album. It was great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tariq from Cairo. This is Caitlin from Phoenix. With no football last weekend, what major plans do you have? I'm sorry, with no major football this coming weekend. Yeah. What major plans do you have for the weekend, perhaps a weekend getaway? Well, is going out to visit Wayne a getaway? Maybe it's a little getaway for us on Saturday. I think we're going to go visit our man, Little Wayne. Out
Wayne.
San Fernando Valley. It's about 30 or 40 minutes from here, but I'm pretty sure we're going to go this Saturday.
Right.
But real quick story, as you know, this past Saturday was the first Saturday I didn't have football in 5 months, maybe more.
I know.
Because college football started back in August. It felt like mid-August.
It's been like a never-ending.
Yeah, because then
weekend.
Pro football started on Saturday, but last Saturday was no pro football, and obviously no college football to speak of. There's Senior Bowl stuff starting, but it wasn't the same. Okay, I did have Lakers at Warriors at 5 o'clock, but I did have the afternoon free.
I remember. So did I.
Just a quick story, weird story. A doctor friend of mine, we're very close to, had asked me again and again if I wanted to go to a shooting range to actually shoot guns.
Right.
And the one reason I wanted to go is I've had this gun with me since I was 8 years old. My pillow. I still sleep on the same pillow I've had since I was like 8.
No, that's no good.
It's no good.
Changed that out.
You sent me a story the other day.
You think it's still your pillow. I've changed that years ago.
Oh, you changed it out?
Yeah.
Oh,
you can't have a pillow for 9,000 years.
She pulled the wool over my eyes.
You'll have ear mites that maybe that's what's in your head.
Ear mites. I got brain mites.
You've got too many ear mites in your head.
So I've had this gun with me all the way through.
I know. It's like Linus with the blanket.
It is my Linus blanket because it came from Sears and Roebuck. Is it Roebuck?
Sears and Roebuck.
Roebuck, okay.
It was a catalog that nobody knows of anymore.
But we went to one in Oklahoma City, and I finally got my father to buy me a .22 rifle.
Right.
So it's almost like a toy, but it shoots bullets, and it's
because you grew up in Oklahoma City where people go and they shoot.
Well, a lot of people go and shoot wild.
I don't know.
Well,
I grew up in New York. We didn't go shoot wild
you could
on
go
Long
in
Island.
upstate New York and go hunting.
Well, on Long Island,
you could drive an hour outside New York and go hunting.
But most
you
people,
could go hunting on Long Island.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are
but back
places.
then, people didn't do that.
Yes, they did. You
Not
just
in
didn't
my
know.
world.
Well, not in your world, but they just did.
Maybe.
And I am not a hunter because with my .22, my older cousins, they're all like 4 and 5 years older. I started, they finally let me go out with them because I could handle the gun. Okay, I was a really good shot with that .22, but I only shot beer cans at the dump. We would line up beer cans and get like 60 feet away, and I just go bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
And it's like a pop gun, but it's deadly accurate, but they're tiny little 22
like
caliber
pellets,
bullets.
Like pellets.
They're above a BB gun.
Right.
They would. I mean, it's a repeater that
I'm
shot
sure would
15
shoot
shots.
people. I mean, you could.
Okay,
do
but anyway,
harm.
I'd had it. I haven't shot that gun. I think I tested it before Y2K just in case I'd have some home protection. So that's 25 years ago at a range in Chicago. But it just sits there, and I thought, well, it'd be a kick to go shoot it at a range just to see how accurate
Right.
it was. And so I went with him. He's got an arsenal. He's got every great gun you could think of. He's got a 357 Magnum, like Dirty Harry gun, make my day.
Crazy.
Do you feel lucky punk gun? And
it's crazy.
he's got 9mm, big ones, and little
Shotgun.
tiny ones, little hand cannons. He's got a 357 Magnum shotgun. And so
I don't get it.
I said, before I shoot your cannons,
And
which
this
I've
is a
never shot in
private
my
gun-
life. This is in the West LA. It's a private gun club. Okay.
But everybody
It's
in
not-
LA
it's great.
has guns.
I guess a lot of people do.
A lot
but
of people
whatever.
have them here for protection.
Okay. But for me, I'm at the gun club and I say to him, hey, just suffer me this,
Right.
just let me get this
Play
over
with
with.
my gun
I want to
first.
shoot my little
Oh,
toy
no.
22.
This is terrible.
And you have to sort of muzzle load the little bullets. You just put them down
Right.
in and just stuff them back in. But then you have to pull back the lever
Right.
to bring up the first
Right.
bullet into the chamber,
Right.
and then it just repeats 15 times. I think he told me that this gun would be illegal now in LA or something. You can't buy a 15-shot gun, whatever.
Yeah.
Not that you could do that much damage with these, but
Well,
the
still.
point is, I go to pull back the lever, and it's broken off. It was broken completely off, and I don't know
my
how it happened. I don't know where it happened. I don't know who did it or why or how, or if it just got
say
old.
Bang, like those
Like-
bang,
like
those
pop out
Halloween bangs.
Yeah.
Just says
And
BANG.
he looked at me like, this is ridiculous. Like, what are you doing? You're wasting our time. We got this arsenal of guns. Just forget about that gun. He said, unload it. Just unload it. So now I got to pour
Yeah,
all the...
like they just whittled it
It
down the
was just
street
ridiculous.
for you out
And
of wood.
It crushed me
Oh my
because
God.
I loved that gun, and it was going to be like a literal blast from
Right.
the past.
Uh-huh.
I was going to get to shoot my childhood gun. The gun meant so much to me because when my father left us, I don't know if I was 14 or 15. I think I was still 14. And my uncle on my, ironically, father's side, named Uncle Joe Plummer, may he rest in peace, came over to our house after he left. And he came in and he got me out of my room and he said, I want you to understand, you're now the man of the house, because I was the oldest.
Yeah.
And he said, do you have a gun? And I said, well, we got this 22 it's supposed to be for hunting rabbits and squirrels, which I refused to do. I just couldn't shoot a rabbit or a squirrel. But he said, can I see it? I went and pulled it out. He said, okay, works. Yeah. He says, do you know how to shoot it? I said, I'm good with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, good. Now you've got to protect your mom. Okay, so it's up to you to protect this household.
Right.
And it really imprinted me. It
Mm-hmm.
meant a lot. And I said, I will. And I
Right.
vowed to him that I would. And knock on wood, I never
Right.
was forced to, but
Well,
I
it's
was
got
prepared
sentimental
to.
value.
So,
to you.
and it's broken. And I don't even know if you could fix it because it's so old. I mean, this gun is ancient.
You'd have to bring it to
It's
some
like-
type of antique.
She called it like a Revolutionary War gun.
I
where
thought
you
it
have
was
to
like those
muzzle
guns
load
where you
it.
have to put in
Yeah.
from the Revolutionary
Right.
War, where they would have to put like they stuff it with like some kind of powder or
With
something.
gunpowder.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Well,
that's
maybe
what I
we
did
could
on
get
my
it
first
fixed for
day
you.
off
I
from
told
football.
you we should just put it in a glass thing above your
Yeah.
desk or something.
Okay. We're
with
going
your
to
pillow next to
okay.
it from
We'll
1912.
I'll just hang it on the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to Lil Wayne's this Saturday. That's
Not
it.
with that gun.
Okay. We close with a quick review. This is your call of Night Agent on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
You first.
Well,
you loved it. This
I
is
loved
season 2 because
Yeah,
we watched season
I was really
1.
excited. The first season was great. Night Agent, because
Yeah.
there was a night manager,
There
which
was,
we
which we
loved.
really
that was
loved,
the
yeah.
best with Tom Hiddleston.
Mhm.
That's the best series. If anybody wants
It's
to watch
really
a good
good.
series, Night Manager.
This is Night
Night Agent. The first season was good. He's this guy who just works in the White House. He's like a trainee almost of a, like he wants to be an agent, but he has to work his way up the ranks. So they give him a place to sit in the basement in like a little closet, and he's got the phone to answer the phone if anything comes in during the night, like there's some kind of bomb
Okay. All
threat in like some foreign country or something.
Okay. All right.
Right? He's going
So,
to get the phone.
Last
Doesn't
year
make sense,
for
but-
the season 1, I went with it for a while because
Right.
the Night Agent actually graduated up and
He became a
and he saved
junior
the
agent.
president.
Yeah,
And it actually had a pretty good
Yeah.
finale for the
Yeah.
season. But then we start back in season 2. And
we were
and
excited. I couldn't wait. I
and
was like, this
and
is
it
going to be
hits
good.
me how preposterous the notion of this whole thing is that there's a bat phone in the basement of the White House. And it's not for like nuclear war breaks
Right.
out. You can see it in episode 1 on Netflix
Yeah.
of season 2. They're calling in. He's now out in the field,
Right.
and they get in trouble, and they're
Like
calling
the agent
in.
is in dire straits, and they're
Right.
getting him on the phone.
Yeah.
What is he going to do? He doesn't
So
even
he
know
calls
anything.
in his password. You
Right.
know,
Right.
it's puddle, mountain, lake, river, scarecrow.
Right, right.
And the guy on the phone's like, "Okay, I got you.
Right.
Where are you?
He's directing
I'm in
him.
Thailand. I'm in Bangkok, or
Bangkok,
wherever. I
yeah,
think they're in
yeah.
Bangkok. Okay, we'll get you extracted. Well,
He's not going to do that.
But they would have if you
Seasoned
called in-
agents.
No, but you would have a whole war room of people
Right.
answering your calls. You
Right.
wouldn't have a bat phone down in
No,
the
he's
basement.
down in
of
the
White House.
basement.
It's
He's like
preposterous.
reading comic books.
It's
He's
silliness. And we tried to watch it, and it's just awful.
I fell asleep.
She fell asleep. I was falling asleep. And yet we did land, because we were done with that
Yeah.
after about
Couldn't
half
take
the
it.
first episode. We found Prime Target, not
which my
Prime
friend Richard
Suspect.
told me about that
Yeah.
said it was good. That was good on
And
Apple.
we watched on Apple Plus or
because
Apple,
he's the
Apple,
guy
yeah.
that's in White Lotus, the
Yeah.
actor. But the first episode, it was going slow. But the second episode,
took
towards
off.
the end,
Yeah.
it was amazing. And then they only gave you the 2 episodes, so
Okay,
I was like let down.
We're now into
Yeah.
so forget
Prime-
Night Agent for us, but Prime,
Target is really good.
and it's about a genius with
A
prime
mathematician.
numbers.
He's a
Genius
mathematician. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, there you have it. That's it for round 9. We will see you next week, if in fact we're still speaking.
We'll be talking. Peace out.